Hello, everyone, and good morning. Happy holidays. Hope everyone is
Hello.
well.
Hey.
Everyone's doing well, refreshed from a little relaxation. Hopefully, you're able to relax this week also.
Yes, school is off.
Excellent. Excellent. So we are here today to discover the new version of Coding Rooms. I know a couple people in here have already had the chance to begin to play with the new version. But I'll be showing off some of the new things we've added today too, so that'll be exciting for those people. And some of you haven't checked out the new version just yet, so we're really excited to share it with you as a present from us, for you to be able to see what you can start to use as you start the new year with your students. If you have any questions at all, don't be afraid to use the chat, which I'm opening up. And what you're seeing right now on my screen is the new version's dashboard. Looks really nice. Custom images you can have for your courses and other really nice things to clean up your dashboard of all the possibilities. Now, in the new version of Coding Rooms, one of the wonderful things, as you can see, is being able to stylize these and have a really nice layout of your, if you're like me and have tons of courses because of testing it, really nice, easy way to locate those courses. Now, when you go to create a course, not only will we be able to start from scratch, but we're excited, and some of you may be here because of this. We're going to have quite a number of different templates from open source curriculum that you'll be able to start off with. So you don't have to start off with an empty slate, blank, empty course. You can also start off with a template like AP Computer Science A's very excellent and awesome curriculum, CS Awesome. You can start off with all of that content in which you can edit it, modify it, delete what you don't like, add things that you do like, that you add on your own, all those wonderful things. So in the new version, when you go to create a class, of course, you're going to give it a title. And then, of course, when you create a class, it's going to be empty at first, no students. So of course you can invite your students so they can show up. When you click on this invite students, it copies a join link so you can get some students. And it's very, very easy for students to join your class. I can show you pretty quickly. Here's a student account, and you just give students that URL and they just join if they're logged in to the Coding Rooms beta. And now they're in the class right there. And notice everything updates in real time really well. I think what you'll see throughout this demonstration today is that everything just updates between the students and the teachers in a really easy to use way. So now I have a student. And then once you have a student, now our dashboard, our teacher dashboard looks a little bit different. And this is new for some of you that have been using the platform as a beta. This teacher dashboard is new as of today. And we're trying to make the dashboard really easy for you as the teacher, the overview page when you log in, to get all the information that you need at a quick glance. So all the assignments you need to review will show up here, and then coming soon we'll have it so that you can quickly access the students that are active in the course. They're currently on a page working, and if any students have their hand raised for help. Now, so first thing is, of course, you want to invite students to your course. Second thing is you need to create content if you have a blank course. And this is where the new version, if you haven't seen any of this at all, gets really, really exciting. And so all of your content, all the pages in your course will show up in this left navigation bar. And of course, you can create new pages if you have none by clicking create. You can organize all of the content into modules and submodules. These are essentially folders, and you can put folders inside of folders inside of folders, as many as you, however you want to organize it. Typically people organize it as unit 1, unit 2, they have folders for, but maybe inside those units you have like programming challenges folder to identify a specific section. So you can organize your units, your modules, your chapters, however you'd like on the left, so students will see that to help you stay organized with the course as well as students. So let me demonstrate that quick. So I can say module, and we'll call this unit 1. And you'll notice a little folder shows up over here. I have no pages inside, so let's add a page inside that unit folder. And so our pages, we have 2 different types. We have an interactive lesson, which is what I'm going to show off first, and a coding assignment. Now, to be upfront, both of these pages really can do the same kind of things, okay? All the magic in the new version of Coding Rooms can be done on either of these pages. It's really just the style of the page and how it will work for your course. So the interactive lesson, I like to describe it as, this infinitely scrolling, vertical page, almost like a Google Doc or something like that you're creating, that as you add more content, it just becomes a longer document, longer page. The coding assignment features that also, but coding assignments a little bit more like the classic version of Coding Rooms, where you can have a larger IDE that's always on the screen on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, you have that infinitely scrolling page that's typically used as a prompt or instructions for the coding assignment. Again, both have the same capabilities. It's just more of a style design choice. Interactive lessons people are using for everything. Where coding assignments, we're definitely seeing that people choose this more for labs, longer projects, those type of assignments. But each could be used exclusively. You could use one for some things and the other for other things. Really doesn't matter. So once you choose that page, I think example lesson page, I'll call this. If you have modules, you can select what module to put it in if you didn't start to create it from there. You can identify the amount of points the page is going to be worth at the beginning, if you want it to be worth 100 points or something like that. But there's some tricks that we're going to show with like auto-graded items on a page. So you may want to leave that as just the default 1 for now, but you can identify that up front if you'd like. I like to kind of have the points just build as I'm building the page. If you want this page to be graded or not, you're going to ensure this checkbox, this toggle is on. Graded means you may create content pages for students that you just want them to read or observe or interact with, but you're not going to actually assign a grade in the gradebook. So you can turn this on and off depending on what kind of page it is. And then accept submissions just allows you to kind of you make it so that the page is just marked as done by the student. The student says, I'm done with this page, or they actually submit the page for you to review. Once you create a page, you'll notice we're just given a blank canvas. You can, of course, type on that page. You can, it's just a document for you to add to. Where the magic happens is when we hit this slash, you get our blocks panel where you can identify, of course, different styling on the page. So I can add a nice big heading. And you can stylize the page to your liking. We even allow you to like highlight text and do your bolds and italics and stuff like that. So of course we have lots of different styling of the content on the page, but what's awesome is our interactive blocks. This is the special stuff right here. And so not only can you just embed text content on the page or pictures and so images and text, stuff that you'd expect on a document, but you can actually embed interactive elements to the page. For instance, of course, our Coding Rooms IDE in all our popular language. So if you're familiar with Coding Rooms, yep, all of those language options are still there. and it just embeds the ID right on the page. So when students interact with the page, they can scroll and they see an ID right there for a programming challenge or whatever it may be. It could be just a lesson too, where they just need to run some code and check out what happens. And they can just scroll down, run, and see the output. Or there's a challenge for them to complete. And yes, we still have the test bench for you to build auto-graded tests. As well as you can still store your model solution for you to refer to as the teacher for your programming challenges. So our ID block supports all that still. Still can add other files. We can open up the files area. You can have multiple files. We still have the full desktop too for your graphic user interface, your GUIs and stuff like that assignments. So full coding room's ID now just embedded on a small page. So you can create and have a page with multiple IDs. And that's the magic that this new version has, is now you're not limited to one thing. Now I can have one programming challenge, students scroll down, and then we can have another challenge or something here for them to work on. And this kind of nice linear flow allows the students to work and understand what needs to be completed in which order. We do have other interactive blocks. So certainly I think the coding ID is cool enough just to have a page with really nice formatted content and a coding ID right on it, but you can have other assessment types. Multiple choice, multiple select, short answer, allow the students to just type a response for you to review. Drag and drop, where you can have students drag certain items into different containers. Maybe it's a vocabulary lesson, something like that. Fill in the blank. Parsons problems, which is code resequencing type of problem, if you're unfamiliar. Code select, you give them a question and they have some code and they have to click on the appropriate lines of code. Checklist, students can just keep track of tasks. Let's say I like this really for long projects, right? We can list some different tasks for the students to complete and they can check off those tasks. File upload. So if you want them to upload a file, we have a couple professors that are using the new platform that are doing this for reports. So students have to write a report after they do some kind of programming labs and stuff, and then they upload the PDF. You can even embed Google Docs and other things. I mean, what's awesome is for some different content is you can just paste the URL and it's going to embed on the page. I'll show that off in a minute, but you can embed other web pages. I was talking to someone yesterday that's using a website. Oh, of course, I can't think of it. But anyways, they allow you to build these little widgets and stuff, little learning activities, and embed them on different websites. You can do that here on Coding. If you copy that embed URL, use our embed block, paste it in there, and you have an interactive from these other websites right there. Google Slides, anything. You can embed right on the page. So students go to one page and they have all the resources for their lesson. So what I was going to show, let's see what comes up on YouTube. You can just copy a YouTube URL, and when you paste it on our page, it just embeds. All I did was paste. I did Control V, and it just embeds right there. So you'll see lots of really nice things whenever you go and you just are working with the page, that everything just works really, really well for you. So now, if I go over to my student account, let's go look at the student. Right now, the student has nothing. There's no content in the course. In order for the student to see the content, you have to publish it. So in the top right-hand corner of our page, we have this publish button. You can just click publish and all students enrolled in the course will see the page and they can start using it. But we know that teachers want to have more control over the content when they're giving it to students. So we allow you to create different policies for your students and how you want them to interact with these pages that you create. So when you create a policy, you can not only select the groups. Maybe you have different sections of the course. You can create different group sets, individual students, things like that. You can assign. You have the due date, of course, you can set so the student knows when it's due. If you want to cut off at a certain point, you don't want to accept submissions, you don't want to allow the student to turn it in anymore, we have submission cutoff. If you don't want the page to publish right now, but you want to schedule it to publish, you can give it an available date. If you want the page to lock out, you don't want students to even look at the page anymore, you can give it an until date. And you'll notice that most of our blocks, our interactive blocks, give immediate feedback. Let me do a quick multiple choice problem to showcase this. You select the right answer. And when students interact with this page, it's going to give them immediate feedback. You'll see that in a second. And if you don't want that, if you don't want them to see what they got for a grade immediately, if you don't want to see that immediate feedback, inside this policy, you're going to hide grades until. And what that will do is that's not going to show them if they got points or not. It's not going to give them that immediate feedback. It's going to hide the grades until that particular date. This is useful where people are using this is really for assessments. If you're building something that's an assessment, you don't want students to see if they got all the multiple choice questions right, because now they're going to see the correct answer and tell their buddy that's sitting next to them the correct answer. Then you can use this date to hide it until a certain point in time. If you're wondering what this group assignments is, when you have multiple students in your course and you set up groups, you can assign the page to be group assignment. So now, instead of the students that are in a group each having their own copy of the page, the group itself, the 3 students or the 2 students, get a copy of the page for you to review, and they can collaborate on the page in real time. Now, once we publish it, notice it showed up on my student view here almost immediately. All the things in coding rooms, real-time interaction. So when you're in front of your students, when you do something, the students are going to see it. When the students do something, you're going to see it. This page is available. Notice the student overview page. All the things that they need to do or items that you gave them recent feedback is going to show up right on their overview page. So we make it quick and easy for the students to access the work they need to complete. If I'm the student assigned, what do I need to do? View the assignment, and now I can interact with this page here. Notice the student sees this. Student can't edit the page. They can't edit the content on the page. They can only interact with the interactive blocks. They can interact with the IDE. They can come down to the multiple choice question. And again, immediate feedback, I have that on right now. Check the answer, not quite right. So it's going to tell them if they're right or wrong. And it's going to award them points when they do get it correct. So if you don't want them to see that immediate kind of feedback, you want to hide that grade and that scoring, you want to set that date that we just discussed. So notice they can interact with the page. What's amazing is we allow for real-time collaboration too. So if there's multiple editors on a page, multiple admins, multiple teachers creating a page together, they can see each other just like on a Google Doc interacting. What this means is if the teacher's editing the page, the student can see the teacher moving around and interacting with the page. Let's say you made a mistake. The students can see you changing the page and editing it in real time, and they get the real-time updates when you make those mistakes. What this also means is that you can help students in real time. So over here, Jack, my student, is having a hard time with this programming challenge. One of the wonderful things about coding rooms is you could interact with your students in real time and help them while they're live programming. And we know that that's an important piece to the puzzle. When all your students will show up here in the sidebar, you can click on the student and there you are interacting with their page in real time. What this means is I can click in the IDE Notice the students on the right-hand side, so now they see the teacher interacting on the IDE in real time. If I click as a student, I can see on the teacher's end the student interacting with the IDE in real time, and you can help the student live on the page. Even if they're struggling with something like a multiple choice question, and you're talking to the student and you want to show them some different things, as you change any of the interactive blocks, the students will also see those changes in real time. So notice I clicked Sasha over here. I'm going to click Jeff. My mouse is staying over here, but it's an update on the student view. And it updates in real time. All the interactive blocks are updated in real time. Now, this is also how you can evaluate, manually review a student's work, right? You can click on their page from our Lightning Grader. This is our Lightning Grader panel right here. You click on a student and you can review their work, manually modify the points they received, provide them with some feedback, and then check off if you've reviewed their work so that the system knows you've reviewed it and it won't remind you anymore that you need to review the student's work. We save this information for you too, so the feedback's there. And if you return the student's work for revision, let's say when they submit it, and you want the student to work on this, we save all your previous feedback in the score history so that all the student submits and changes, your feedback, your edits are all saved in the history so you can see the page as it progresses and you return work to students and they return it back to you. So for instance, if I want to return this to the student, so they need to work on number 2. I'm going to return this to the student. And now they see on their end, returned and needs revision. So now they know I need to work on this. My teacher's returned it to me. And that's going to show up for them on their dashboard also. It's going to tell the student, you have some recent feedback. This was returned for revision by the teacher. You need to continue to work on it. So students are alerted when something's returned to them for revision. Live teaching is really important to us at Coding Rooms, and we know the importance of it. Our live classroom was one of our most popular features in the original classic version of Coding Rooms. What we have in the new version, I get more excited about because it has so much more capability. You may have noticed down at the bottom of the screen here, there is a Go Live button. In any page, so no longer if you want an assignment to be live versus the live classroom, you can switch between them and they're stuck in their things. Everything in the new version can go live. So you can go live at any point in time, any page. And when you go live, when you click that button, students, you get a presentation that all students have and can see for you to work through things with them as a class. So what does the student see? Well, let me go to that page again. As soon as a student goes to a page, if you're in a live session, it's in a live session as soon as they open the page. On the left-hand side, they see the presentation. This is where the teacher's demoing some code, showing off some things, even multiple choice questions, fill in the blanks, drag and drop, anything. They're going to see it update in real time in the presentation area. But the student can't edit the presentation. Presentation's for the teacher to show the class. Coming soon, we will allow for some capabilities of the students being able to edit it and doing some collaborative work. So stay tuned on that. But they can see the teacher in real time making changes. Let's see if I can get this to look right. And students can follow along because on the right-hand side, they have their own work. They have the copy of their page for them to follow along with the teacher side by side. And that side-by-side comparison inside of one window, so the students don't have to switch tabs, we know is really powerful and one of the best things in the live classroom of the classic version of Coding Rooms. Now, all the different content, students can follow along side by side if they need to, as the teacher discusses things with the entire class, Students can see what the teacher's doing on their page right next to their own work and can follow along in real time. And what's great is, of course, we want teachers to be able to see what the students are doing. So notice the speed, our lightning grader is open over here. And we can just simply click on any student. If you had multiple students, we can click on any student and we can interact with their page, as well as check their progress and help them on any of their blocks in real time. If a student needs help, just like in our classic version, we have raise hand. So on the student pages, they can raise their hand, and you'll notice that the hand is raised on the student. It quickly indicates to you that the student needs help. You can even lower their hand, which we couldn't do in the classic version. So by clicking on the hand, it will lower it. So if I'm done with the student, I can just click on the hand, it lowers it. But a quick indicator of that. You want to organize the speed grader. You want to hide the grades, maybe because you're showing this area and you don't want the grades to show up. You can do that. You want to filter it by students that are just active on a page. You can do that. Notice that when a student's active on a page, I'm clicked over here on the page, there's a little green indicator. As soon as they're not active on a page, click on another browser tab, another window, no longer indicator that they're active on that page. The green dot disappears. So you can know in real time if your students are actually working on the page or not. If they're watching YouTube in another tab, whatever it may be, our pages will indicate that. Down at the bottom, you can see a little face pile of all the people active on a page too. So we get nice little things like that for you to check those kind of things out. You'll also notice these little icons. This means I returned it for revision to the student. If the student resubmits, let's see, wasn't clicked on the page. All right, resubmitted it. Notice the check mark. That means the student has submitted it and it's ready for me to review. Little arrow means it's in the state of revision. If I review this, save, now we get a little green check mark there because now it's returned. So we get all these little indicators for you to quickly identify some of those different things going on. So what does that other kind of page look like, that coding assignment? And then I'll be opening it up for some questions soon in a little bit. So if you have some questions written down, that time's coming. When you do a coding assignment, you're going to, of course, give it a page name. If you want to throw it in a module, you can select that, or you can just have it in the main course area. For this, since there's a large IDE on the page, you're going to select the programming language up front that you're going to use. And then you can create it. So notice the coding assignment, it allows us to have a large IDE over on the right-hand side, same features, test bench, all that stuff still there. And then you can have some kind of instructions is usually what this area is used, but this is the same exact kind of page as a lesson. This is the same thing. So you can embed multiple choice questions on the left if you want. The creativity is at your fingertips is what you want to do with these pages. You can even embed an IDE next to this larger IDE. You're like, well, why would someone want to do that? Well, where I've seen it used is some people are using that if they want to provide students with some example code to go with the project, some snippets of different things. They actually give it an ID where the students can run that example, check out how it works, and then use that to start to work on their project over here on the right-hand side. Because you can take these IDE blocks, you can make them worth 0 points. You can turn off auto grading. And then it's just an IDE block there that's not graded at all. So then you don't have to worry about it being part of the points in the system. It's just an interactive ID for students to use. So you provide really rich, easy to run examples right next to the student's work where they can go like this, and then they can work on their code over there. So that's the other style. Again, same capabilities. There's nothing limiting you. Just the style of the page And people like this over here, again, because look, I can just have that consume the whole page, this IDE instance. All right, and I can see the instructions. I can make the instructions on the whole page, view the instructions, and I can just pull this out and work on my project. So really useful when you're working on larger projects, right? Where it's helpful to have this be in focus, and you can remove the distractions. Want to show off quick what a course might look like. With more pages. So here's an example of CS Awesome, which is really great. So over on the left, look at all these pages, the entire CS Awesome curriculum embedded for you to work with. You have free reign over editing these pages. You don't like something, you can delete it. You want to add something, you can add it. So we give you, and we have quite enough Python for everybody. If some people are familiar with that, it's also popular, very popular curriculum, free curriculum out there. A number, we have over 20 different free curriculum that we're going to embed in here for you to be able to work with, add on to, improve, enhance, change, modify to your liking to make the best curriculum for your students. What I wanted to showcase, notice when you have some other students, notice these bars here. You'll notice these bars, and these will light up different colors as students are working on things to indicate to you the different assignments on the page. I'm sorry, the different assessment interactive blocks on the page will light up these green when it's correct, red when it's wrong, to give you a quick snapshot and indicator of if it's correct or not. So you're going to look for all those little things to quickly show you some of that information. I did just realize I forgot to show one little thing, and it's something people might be wondering. What if you go live on a coding assignment? Yes, you can go live on a coding assignment. When you go live on a coding assignment, you not only have the split view between the student will have the presentation and their work, but yes, you also have the page and the coding IDE that you can switch between. So yes, live works for coding assignments also. It works for either page, and it works well for either page. All right. And of course, we can end our live session. So we're incredibly, incredibly excited about the new version of Coding Rooms as we enter the new year. 2022 is looking so wonderful for CS education and for Coding Rooms. Let me grab the, of course, I'm lost now. If anybody is not signed up to beta test the product, we're still just in beta here for probably a couple more weeks or so before we officially launch this as the default version of Coding Rooms when people sign up new. If you want to get your hands on this version of Coding Rooms that I showed off today, you want to sign up for our beta. I just put it in the chat. You can click on that link. You can sign up, and today, I will get back to you today with all the information for you to get started, for you to start to build content for the new year when you start with your students again. So please feel free. I'm going to leave the screen share on just because there's cool stuff to look at on the screen. Feel free to unmute or type in the chat, maybe some questions you have. We have lots of things on the roadmap. There's going to be even more incredible things, but you may have some ideas or questions that you'd like to present to us. So please feel free to unmute and let us know your thoughts. I see everyone's absolutely amazed. That's what I like to hear and see. Nora, there are some webinars on our YouTube channel. If somebody from the Coding Rooms team could throw in our YouTube channel in the chat. There are quite a number of different ones on how to set up auto grading, and we will be having some. We're definitely going to have one in January, so be on the lookout. We'll be having a webinar on auto grading basics. We also have a couple articles coming out soon on how to do auto grading, which may be really nice to kind of review. And Richard has put the Coding Rooms YouTube in the chat. So you can go there and you can start to check out some of our different webinars that we've done on how to set up auto grading. As well as, I almost forgot, here's my website, which shows you how to set up unit testing for auto grading. Hi, Fatima. Your existing courses will not get auto migrated just yet. We're not going to do that during the middle of the year. We understand that that can be stressful. So the classic version of Coding Rooms will exist right through the end of the school year, so you can continue to use that. However, probably I'm assuming this week, if not definitely next week, we'll have it publicly available for you to be able to migrate your courses if you want. So you'll be able to migrate your courses over into the new version, and you can, with your students enrolled and all that stuff that you've already set up, and you can start to use that in the new version. So you could just pick up right where you left off, right in the new version of Coding Rooms. So that will be possible this week or next week. And I think someone unmuted. So just let us know when you want to do that, and we can do that for you, or you can wait for it to be publicly available.
Okay.
Yep, just so any existing Coding Room customers on the call, just know that we are not going to force you to move over at this point in time. I think you'll be excited to move over, as the new version has some really nice aspects to it. And as well as you can actually switch between the two versions. So maybe if you want to, use the old version for a particular thing, but then use the new version for other things, as of right now, you'll have that kind of freedom. So deleting a module that's not empty. Let's see what happens. It deletes all the content inside.
Okay.
And Fatima, that's what you were wondering, if it deletes all the content inside?
Yes. It doesn't do in the existing version. You have to delete all the assignments manually first.
Yes. That's what I thought you were referring to. So now it behaves as you'd expect. You delete the container, it deletes everything inside the container also.
Sounds good.
In the classic version, we did that as a safety, kind of protocol, so you didn't accidentally delete a module and then all your stuff was gone. Any other questions before we jump off today?
Hey, Joe, this is Enzo here. Thanks for the presentation. I was wondering if you can show us how we can make a specific course public, because I know some teachers would like to share some of the contents with other teacher. Is this something we can do in Coding Rooms?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Enzo. And that was at the bottom of my list that I forgot. So I'm so glad you brought that up. As new as of today, not only can you have, your different courses on Coding Rooms and enroll students as you would expect, but you can actually make courses public, which would allow anyone on the internet to have access to your different pages and your courses. So let's do that with this little example course I just created. If you go into the settings, you can make the course a public course. So when we make this a public course, now what this allows me to do is I can go to a particular page. And when I publish it, I can select it to be published to the public, meaning this page will be publicly accessible to anybody who navigates to it. We have some work to do. This is our first kind of iteration of it. So I'm not going to lie, we have a little bit of work to do, that, especially throughout this week, to be improving this experience. But once you select the public and you have your policy that allows the public to see it, not only students enrolled in this course, but the public. This also means that some pages the public can see, but you may have other pages that only students enrolled in the course can see. So you can set up these publish rules, these policies, however you'd like, to give you fine control over the students enrolled. Individual students can see certain things that other students cannot. You select who you want to see what and the due dates for those individuals, etc. Now that I've made this public, well, let's just give it a full test. Everybody in here could technically view this page now. Go ahead, click the link, and you should be able to interact with this page. Logged into coding rooms or not, it should allow you to view the page. Again, the experience may not be perfectly clean right now. We have some work to do, but this is our first iteration of this feature. Someone let me know it's working.
I think I'm in, but yeah, it's not published. Nothing to see yet.
Excellent. Sorry about that. I did need to click the publish button. Now everyone should be good. So now you may need to do a refresh, re-navigate to the page, and you can see it. So now, again, you can select. I can create another page. Of course, it's not published because you can't see it, but I can publish it to just students enrolled in my class, just all students enrolled in my class, not to the public. And this is published now. This one student I have open can see it, but all you in the public course should not be able to see that because I did not publish it for the public. So you have the control over the content in your course. We know that this is going to be really powerful and cool for different use cases in the classroom where you may want students to be able to access a course, but not have to enroll. We know some schools that, student privacy is so locked down that it can become really hard for you to have students enrolled. So now you can develop the content publicly for them to access. And you may want to create content to share with other teachers. And now you can do that and publicly share certain pages and content with other teachers to help them out. You can build content on coding rooms, have all that full control and creativity, and be able to share it with your students in the world. And we really think that's powerful. Any other questions? Even comments before you leave today. Things you liked, things you'd like to see. Now's the time. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, so Karen asked if we can change things back to being not public. Yeah, these publish rules, you have full control. I can just, so if I go to that coding assignment that you guys can see right now, if in a quick thing, I go, oh no, I don't want you guys to see this. I can just click unpublish, but now you guys shouldn't have access to it. If anyone still has that open, you shouldn't have access to that page now. So I can just quickly unpublish it. And of course, if you accidentally selected publish and you want it for your students, you can go into the policy, you can uncheck off public, resave that policy, publish the policy, and then you're good. Now it's only students. So now I have it published. My student can see it again, but now you guys in the public can't see it. Currently, we do not allow a student to unenroll or delete a course they're no longer in. I'd love to hear more about that use case, as it's something I've thought about too. So Tanya, if you'd like to tell us a little bit more about that, I would love to learn more.
Okay, I have students who either switch like during the year to a different teacher or get out of the class but still want to play on their own. And I have some kids in this area that are very OCD and they don't want it on their screen because they're not involved in it. And it irritates them.
Understandable. That's where I tend to want the feature sometimes, because when we're testing things, I'll enroll as a student and then sometimes I just want them gone.
Yeah.
So we hear you on that. I think the engineering team's probably going to note that down, and we'll make a note of a way to do that, and so that students don't unenroll. Like we got to think about the best way to do that.
Right.
Students don't unenroll when you don't want them to, type of thing.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Fatima, you mentioned currently in auto-graded assignment, the student has to scroll through all the tests and visually check if each passed. Yes, we've made some improvements to this. I think you'll like the improvements we've made here. Let me add a couple tests. These will just be kind of fake quick things, so you can kind of see what this looks like. All right. When you run tests now, this is the new interface.
Oh, wow, that looks good.
That's the kind of reaction I wanted. Yes, I think it's much more improved about quickly being able to see if you failed and passed. Very confusing before. I won't say very confusing. Confusing sometimes. You may have passed, but it looked like you failed, things like that. And now if they want to dig deeper into these, they can just click on, one of these items. You can see the little caret over here. You don't have to click on the caret. You can just click on the item and it gives you the comparison, or it gives you the unit test information.
Looks good.
Yeah. So, and we also show the points right there, as well as, allowing them to open and close these things. Any other questions? As we're approaching the top of the hour, I'll be here still, so we'll allow you to hang out here as long as you want. I've loved the feedback so far and the questions that have come up, so please keep them coming if you have any other thoughts. In Fatima, yeah, don't be ashamed to ask any questions. You keep them coming. Are you saying, could you explain that a little more for me?
Generally in other IDs, when there is a typo in the program, there's a red wavy line under it. I don't see that in a coding room, workspace.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're saying, yeah, now I understand. Error highlighting. So like right now I should have a little red squiggly. We don't have that. We could start to look into adding that to our ID.
Okay, and also is it possible to turn on autocomplete, or is that also not yet available?
Currently not available, I think. Brian, do we have that on right now in the new version?
So I know we did development on a like a Java language server. I'm not sure if it's in Forge. I have definitely not tested it here, but it's still in beta.
Okay.
So it is on our
Okay.
roadmap.
Yeah, looks like yeah, looks like it's not working, but we are definitely considering that.
Okay,
Yeah,
that'll-
we should have that at some point.
Thank you. Mhm.
Any other thoughts? Maybe something you want me to show off again. I'm okay doing that too. You're like, I didn't get a full glimpse of how to do this. Can you show it one more time? I can do that for you. Don't forget to sign up for the beta. Also, I just threw it in the chat one more time. Karen, I would say you would be able to choose to turn the autocomplete on and off. Actually, I think, Brian, the settings there currently, it's just not enabled. So notice it's there to be able to be turned on and off.
Okay.
Awesome, Karen. We're looking forward to you using it also. Karen, do you, if you didn't jump off yet, do you teach AP Computer Science A? All right, so what I was thinking about when you asked about the autocomplete, usually it's AP Computer Science A teachers. You want teachers, students to be able to do free response questions without being able to check their code. Well, you can do that with, just like they do on AP Classroom, with a short answer block. So now when students go to complete this, they just get a normal text editor instead of having the actual IDE where they can run their code, if that's something you were interested in. Some teachers, they want them to be able to run the code, but they just don't want those niceties of the autocomplete too. And I can understand that. But notice now they would just have just a normal, text block, just like on AP Classroom, how it is for them to type in the answers to the FRQs, and you can check on that. I can give a preview on Nora for some of the ones we have coming. And there are going to be many, many more, but Python for Everybody, Fundamentals of Web Programming, Intro to Programming with Java. Yes, Python for Everybody is a very, very popular Python course, and so that will be available probably this week. So you can have that. How to think Python, think Java, think C++, those courses, they'll be available also. So so we'll have C++ courses, Java courses, Python courses, some web fundamentals courses, some of those things available. And what's fantastic about it is you get all that content, but you can edit it to your liking, choose what you want to keep, delete what you don't want, add your own stuff. And that's what's really powerful about it. And yes, in the coming month, please take a look at the marketplace coming soon, where you'll not only be able to share content with other teachers for free or paid, kind of like a teachers pay teacher kind of model, but we'll be sharing lots of different course content in there. Tanya, the copy and paste, not just yet. Kind of works, but probably not as you'd want. But we are working on that. We're working on ways for you to duplicate a course, for you to duplicate a page, and then also copy and paste those interactive elements over to other pages. All right, any final questions from anyone before we end today? Well, thank you everyone for a wonderful session. I hope everyone's enjoying the holiday season. Happy New Year. I'll see you in the new year. If you signed up for the beta, you'll get an email from me today inviting you, and I can't wait for you to play around more. If you have any questions, you can email me at joe@codingrooms.com, threw it in the chat there. And one more time, I will copy and paste the beta invite just in case you didn't click it, and just in case you don't feel like scrolling. So you can also click on that and register there, and I'll get back to you today. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. Happy New Year. So long.